Hello everyone, welcome to my first YouTube video. I'm not even sure if I'm going to make another one, but here we are. Um, Today we're going to be making the popular game Wordle. So if you're not sure what that is, it's a game where you guess the word. It's a 5-letter word, and you guess what word it is. And so if the letter is green, that means you have the correct letter in the correct place. So the E and the A I have in the right place. And if the letter is yellow, then we don't have the right letter in the right place. We have the letter, we know that there would be a T in the word, but we don't have it in the right place. So it could be here or here because we know that the E and the A take up this spot, and we know that the T does not go here. So it's a fun game, people, it's like popular right now, so I decided that I'd be making it in Python and sharing it with all of you. So first off, before we actually work on our Wordle, we're going to make a module called words. It doesn't really matter what you name this as long as it doesn't have a space in it. So it can be like hello world with an underscore. It can be anything you want, but I'm going to go with words because it's sort of straightforward. I left a link to a pastebin with the 1,000 most popular English words. I'll leave that in the description, and you can just go down here, click on it, you press Control A, and then you copy it. You can just paste it right into your thing, and then you'll have a long list of words that you can use. And if you highlight it and you press Control Shift and then left bracket, you can fold it so that it only takes up one line, and you can just press this to restore it. You want to make sure you put a few lines after this so that you have space to write the next code, but I feel like that's a really nice shortcut for projects that require like long lists like this. It's very helpful. So now that we have our long string of words, we can split the words up into a list. So we'll say words list equals words dot split, and then we're going to split by every new line. So we see inside of here that we have each word on a new line. We can split it by each line. So the word beyond and the word big would be different items inside of a list. The next thing you want to do is go up to the top, make a few lines up there, and type import random, because we're going to be selecting a random word using the random module, so we need to import that in order to pick the random word. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to be doing is cycling through every item inside of this words list. So we can just write for I in range length words list. We'll say selected equals words list I. So that will be the I wrote in there. We'd say selected equals words list I. That would just mean that selected is the current thing that we're iterating through in our for loop. We're going to define a list up here called output words list, and it's just going to be empty right now, but we'll be adding things to it later. So we'll say if dot join dict dot from keys words list -1 equals selected and length of selected is is equal to 5. So what this is essentially doing is that it checks if, I'm going to put this on the same thing, checks if there are any repeating letters. Oh, I put the wrong thing in here. I was supposed to put selected. So that's my bad. Checks if there are any repeating letters and if the length of the word is 0. Nope, 5. So inside of this if statement, we're going to say output word list dot append, and then we're going to say selected. And then so if we print out the length of output words list, we'll have the total number of words that we can use inside of our Wordle. Oh, I see my issue. I put this -1 in the wrong spot. So it should be here. Because every time, when I was doing this earlier, every single time I got a none statement at the end, which is kind of annoying, so I just did -1 to get rid of that none statement at the end. So now it should work. There you go. So we got every single 5-letter word that doesn't have a repeated letter. So if we print out the length of this, we get 133, which is quite a few considering that there's only 1,000 words that are available. Next thing that we're going to do is define a function so that we can use it inside of our main file. We're going to write define get word, and we're going to use the random module that we already imported. We're going to say return random.choice output words list. We're going to get rid of this print statement so we don't get the length of the words list every time we run our main document or main file. So now we can just say print get word, and we'll get a random word that that we're going to call using this random statement. There you go. Our word is raise, and if we run it again, we get large. So it works now. So now it's time to get into the nitty-gritty and do some actual coding with Tkinter. So we're going to name this whatever you want. I'm just going to name it main.py. And the first thing we're going to do is from Tkinter import everything. That star sign means everything if you didn't know that. And then we're going to do import words. So the first thing we want to do is say root equals tk. So that sets up our thing, and then we'll skip a few lines and we say root dot main loop. So now if we run it, we'll get a window, but there's nothing inside of it right now, so that's not too exciting. So the next thing we want to do is get our chosen word. We'll say word equals words dot get word. Now if we print out the word, I'll just do the same thing that we did inside of this other thing. You want to delete this so that we don't get something printed out. So we return the random word that we get. So if we gotta run this, we just need to save it, but I'm just gonna run it. So if we print out the random word that we get price. Next thing we want to do is define the colors that we're going to use for each guess. So see that we have this green, this yellow. So we're going to define our colors that we're going to use. Delete this. I say green equals, and we can just use the color picker that Google has. So for our green, we'll use a darkish green. This color seems good. You can just copy this and then put it in there. So now if we we can use this color now. So if we say root.config and then foreground equals green. Oh, unknown option foreground. I'm not really sure why I was saying foreground when I meant background. That was just a brain fart by me. So now if we run this, our thing is green. And you can change this to whatever you want. If you want like a lighter green, then by all means choose a lighter green. You just copy this right here, and then it'll give you one. So we'll delete this. We're going to make an input box so that our user can guess a word. So for that, we are going to say word input equals entry, and then we're going to put that to the root so that it will display, and then we say word input dot grid. I say row, I'm just going to say 999 so it's always at the bottom. Column equals 0, pad x equals 10, pad y equals 10, so we give it a little space. We say column span equals 3. Because ideally we're going to have 5 columns, each with their own letter in it. So if we span 3 columns using the word input and then the guess button that we're going to span a total of 5 columns at the bottom, which will look better. So now if we run this, we have our little input box. Doesn't do anything right now, but we will hook it up. We're going to go down here a few lines. We're going to write word guess button equals button. Root text equals, or say guess. And then we'll put that on the grid. Make sure it's on the same row. Column equals 1. Or no, we want it as 3. And then column span equals 2. So now if we run this, we accidentally put that at 99 instead of 999. We have a button and a thing, but they're not hooked up to each other right now, so they don't do much. We're going to put a few lines of space in between. We're going to define a function to get the guess from the text entry. So we're going to say define get guess. We're going to global the words so we can use it inside of our function here. Say guess equals word input dot get. So we're going to get it from we're going to get the text that is inside of our word input. And then right now we'll just make a label that has our guess inside of it. And then we'll just put that on the grid. And then so if we type in the word like steak, like I did in my example. Oh, that's dumb. So I forgot to hook up the command to the button. So I'll just say command equals get guess. And then now, there you go. And I'm always pointing this on the first row, so that's why there's none of them like coming down. So I forgot to define the rest of the colors, so we'll just do that real quick. Yellow, that looks good enough. The reason why I'm putting this in all caps is because they're constants, so like they won't change. It's fine if you put them in lowercase, but I just like putting constants in uppercase, and then we'll just have 000 for black. There you go. So first off, we're going to check if the length of the guess is not 5. So first thing, we're going to go up here and we're going to say from Tkinter import message box. And now we're going to go and we're going to say if guess, or no, if length of guess is not equal, or is equal to 5, then we'll just pass through it right now, and then we'll say else. We're going to say message box dot show error. Please use 5 characters, and then please use 5 characters in your guess. So now if we run this, if we just use one letter, we're going to get this error that says please use 5 characters in your guess. So now we're going to say if we're correct, so we're going to say if word is equal to guess, then we'll say message box dot show info. Correct is going to be our header, and then we're using f string here. If for those of you who don't know, f strings, you can just embed variables inside of f strings. So we're going to say correct. The word was, you use these curly brackets. The word was word. And we can just say word dot title if you want to get fancy. So if the first letter would be capitalized. So now if they're not right, so if they're wrong, we're just going to put a comment here that says correct, and then a comment here that says incorrect. We're going to say, we're going to loop through each letter inside of the guess. So we're going to say for I letter in enumerate guess. The reason I'm using for I and letter is because this I will return an index of what we're looping through. So if we're on the first loop through the letter, it's going to return 0. It's either 1 or 0, I can't remember. And then the letter will return the letter that we're looping through. So if I said the word steak, like I did in my original, if we were looping through the T, then it would return T. So that's a basic explanation. I'm going to say label equals label root, and we're going to hook this up to our root. We'll say text equals letter dot upper, so that will make our letter uppercase, so that will just look like this and not like a lowercase s. And then we'll put this on the grid, so label dot grid row equals, just put this on 0 for now, and then column equals I. And then we'll add a little bit of padding to it, so pad x equals 10, pad y equals 10. And now here comes the fun part. We're going to say if letter is equal to word, and then I guess we can just say letter. Wait, no. Yeah, we have to use word I. I'm not sure what I was thinking there. If letter is equal to letter. So say label dot config, because we already put our label on the grid. So we're just going to configure it so that our background is green and our foreground is black. So this will make the background of the text green and the actual font color itself black. In here it's white, but it doesn't really matter. You can put the font color as blue if you want. It doesn't matter. So that is if they get the letter right. And now here comes the second if statement. If letter in word and not letter equal to word I. So that is if the letter is in the word but not in the right spot. So we're saying if the letter is in the word but the letter is not at the specific point that we're looping through, we're going to say label.config background equals yellow, foreground equals black, and then finally if letter not in word, we'll say label.config background equals black, and then foreground equals, we'll make another one called white. So if the letter is not in the word, then the background will be black, just like this here. So now we'll say else to this big if the letter, or if the length of the guess is 5. We'll say else. We're going to show a message box with an arrow that says it's going to tell you to use a 5-letter word. Oh, we already did that. Sorry. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a variable called guessNum, or you can call it guessNumber, whatever you want. That's going to be equal to 1 because the player is going to be on their first guess. So we're going to shift all of this over. On Windows, you press Control and then the bracket that goes to the right. On Mac, it's Command and then the bracket goes to the right. We're going to say if guessNum is less than or equal to 5, and then at the end we're going to say else message box.show error, you lose, and then the text will be an F string that says you lose, the word was word. And then we need to make sure that we add, we're going to global the number here, and then we're going to make sure we add 1 every time we loop through this. So that would be guessNum plus equals 1, and then this should be working. Just delete some white space down here, and this should be working. So if we run this, don't get an error. And so if we enter the word steak like I did before, we see that the letters T and E are inside of it, but the words S, A, and K are not inside of it. This works. If you want, you can make the background and such black, so we can just say root equals tk, and we can just say background equals black, and then we'll just move this down here because then we already defined the black variable. Oh, okay, never mind. We need to do a config, so root.config background equals black. Then now name black is not defined. Oh, I forgot to delete this. So now our background is black, and we can, yep, so there we go, we get the error of 5 characters in your guess. So now if we type steak, none of these letters are inside the word. If we type yellow without the W. Oh, I forgot to do something. Sorry. So for here, we're going to say the row is equal to guess num, because that is the current guess that they are on. So now if we run this, we will say like steak again. See the letter E is inside of it. If we guess black, we see the C is in the right spot. And so if we run out of guesses, the word was force. So you see that the E wasn't in the right spot. The E was supposed to be here. And then we see that the C is in the right spot, so that's green. And so yeah, I think this is a fun little project I made in like 30 minutes when I didn't have a class. So thank you for watching, and if I make another video, then I'll see you in it.